Hi, everybody. Like I say in all my videos, I'm not responsible if anybody gets hurt, and sometimes I swear. Today, I'm going to talk about Nick Reiner and the possibility he's going to be in prison or in a mental hospital, and my thoughts about it. Will he survive being either in a mental hospital or a jail? I'm with my sidekick, Michaela. So I'm just going to give a short review about Nick Reimer. He was born, I think, in '95, and in September of '95, and his parents were found murdered in December, the past week in December, the 14th, I think, on a Sunday. His sister was found her parents dead in their home in the bedroom, and then they arrested him about the day after, like less than 24 hours, I guess. And now we're waiting for him to go to trial in January. And my thoughts about him: would he survive or would he make it in prison? Prison is a very hard place. I've never been there. Like I said, this is just my opinion. And would he survive? Because prison's very harsh, and they're very cruel to you. And they don't. I don't know if they would care if he was a murderer, because I think there's different levels of people who are, in prison. There's rapists, there's murderers, child molesters. So he'd be up high there because he doesn't feel any remorse or anything. So he'd be in prison. So he would have to be careful who he pisses off people. Like I see in prisons when I watch YouTube videos and other shows. There was a TV show called 60 Days in Prison where people pretended that they were prisoner. I might make a video on that. Anyway, they have the Mexicans together, the Puerto Ricans together, the whites and the blacks together. Like they have majority. A lot of them are in gangs. And, if you say the wrong thing, you can get beaten up or put in the infirmary or their hospital in the infirmary. If you look at them the wrong way, you'll end up in a fight. So he's going to have to watch his step. And he'll lose a lot of weight because he's not gonna do well. He's gonna miss not being able to play video games, watching television. They probably have a television, but only certain hours, and people pick what they want, and he won't probably always and he won't get what he wants. And there's drugs there, but then he'll doesn't have money for that. And they also, I think people buy stuff there, and he would have to buy the drugs, but he would have to do stuff that is kind of dangerous. Like if there was, when they go and have the guards check, if there's drugs or whatever, sometimes they come into the rooms, on the cells, if someone gets a tip that there's drugs or calling a band there, they'll go in and check. They'll have their dogs sniff drugs, and they destroy the cell block with the dogs and check everything. And they'll tell the people, get out of your cell or whatever, and they check. And if you have more drugs or stuff contraband you shouldn't have, that adds more to your sentence. But if you're in life in prison, I don't know how much more you can get, added. Maybe he might end up in confinement where you're stuck in a space. If he talks back, they might put him in confinement where you end up in a cell where you're the only one, a 2x4. He won't handle that really well. I don't think you have to be a very strong person to live through prison, because there's rough people, there's gay people, there's straight, there's bisexual men. Men beat up other men. There's gangs, like I said before. You might get raped. People might not want to hear this, but he has to be careful he doesn't get attacked. stabbed or whatever. Prison's going to be hard. I don't know if he would survive it because he's narcissistic, and I'll make an upcoming video because I think he's narcissistic, and he might have narcissistic tendencies, and I think he's a psychopath because the way his eyes are. I'll make a video about me thinking he's a psychopath, and he'll think he's very entitled there, and you can't have a major attitude there of being very entitled because you have your ass kicked. He's used to, having his parents there. I mean, being around his family and doing things. He's going to try to get a high-class lawyer and the other inmates won't like that. Having Nick having highest price thing. And he was a son of a celebrity. I don't know if people will care about that. Probably not. They just probably don't like someone who's rich, The blacks probably won't like it that, he's a rich white person, and they won't like that. And the Hispanics might not think like, he's a rich white person, and they think he's gonna try to get special treatment, and you don't get special treatment when you're in prison. No one cares if you have your father, your son, or your father, or if you're a women's prison or any prison. They don't care who you are, if you're a celebrity or not. You're just like, there's different levels. Like I said, if you're a rapist, molester, drug dealer, or whatever, he's on high thing, but he's going to have to make friends in prison. He'll be raped, jumped, or abused. That's a fact. And he might be outcast. I don't think he's going to make too many friends. If they do, they're just going to use him and exploit him and use him, and he'll be a scapegoat. And will I feel sorry for him? No, he murdered people. I don't feel sorry for him in prison. And I think eventually he might die in prison. Someone might knife him or something, or he might end his own life in prison. You don't know. All right, that's the prison part. I don't think he'll survive. He'll lose weight, the drugs. He'll want to get drugs, and if he doesn't, he'll go through withdrawal real bad. Or if someone gives him drugs, they might give him drugs that aren't right, and he might OD on them. You never know. People probably died in prisons taking the wrong drugs, and, So he might go through that. If he doesn't have drugs, if he doesn't have money to buy drugs, he'll try to find it everywhere to get it, which is dangerous, So I don't think he'll survive prison. I think he'll be dead within less than 5 years if he's in prison. All right, now I'm going to do a mental hospital. That's worse. Or it's as bad. Being in a mental hospital is terrible. I've never been in one. I don't want to ever go. Like, I've never been in prison. They probably yak you up on drugs. And, that's a bad place. He's going to really hate it there. He'll want to leave and he can't because they think he's a danger to other people, and they keep you in for a long, long time. I don't think he'll ever get out. So he might, he'll be drugged up. He'll be like an aesthetic where he doesn't know where he is half the time because other people will be drugged up, or they'll be schizophrenic, or sorry, the TV went on. He'll be schizophrenic. They said he is schizophrenic. I don't know if that's true. I think that might be just what the people who are defending him, think he's schizophrenic. They just want him to be put in a mental hospital. That's going to be a terrible place. He's going to complain. He'll be drugged. He'll be entitled. He says, I don't deserve to be in this place. He'll go to see a therapist, but it's too late for him. He can't be fixed. He killed his parents. So they're going to try to make him incompetent to put him in a mental hospital. He'll be with other people who are worse off than him, the people who will probably just being tied to their bed, end up, peeing in their bed. It's disgusting, I think. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor, but I'm thinking they don't have enough staff for every single person. So I think they're understaffed in mental hospitals. So I think it's going to be one of the worst experiences he's going to have, and I'm not going to feel sorry for him. He killed his parents, and he destroyed his family's lives, and what comes around goes around. So I don't think he would survive. Maybe he'll end his life. Maybe he'll take some pills to overdo himself and commit suicide if he's in a mental hospital, because he won't be able to take it anymore unless they think he's, accepted by society after being in it for 20 years and he can leave. But I don't think so. I think he won't survive a mental hospital or prison. So no, and I don't feel sorry for him. So a lot of people think that's being heartless. No, it's not. Heartless was what happened to Rob Reiner and his mother and his family, and his daughter running in to see the dead parents, finding them dead. That's going to give her a lot of post-traumatic disorder and probably scars. She probably has nightmares at night, hardly can sleep. I feel bad for the family and the fans and the relatives and friends that are going through a rough time. So he doesn't have anything to feel sorry for. Nope, I don't feel sorry for Nick. Into my other videos, take care and bye.